$11 million deal. Paul turned 39 in May. Spurs will be his 7th team as he starts year 20. The good news for you, Brew, when Paul arrives, winning follows. Every team, it's true. Look at the numbers.
Well, the Warriors.
He got credit for the Warriors. It's just Josh is doing his job. You want him to lie about it? They went up almost.
Those are big jumps, though.
Well, what would a 2% jump wilds be for the Spurs?
2% jump for the Spurs, unfortunately, would only
22 and a half.
26
Yeah.
It'd be
wins,
22.
something like
No,
that.
they were
one
at
win.
22.
Yeah, they're 22. They get one.
yeah.
No, it
would be low.
A
One
one-win
win
jump
would be 10%.
No,
Trust
not of
me.
22, buddy.
They're jumping
10%
way
of
more
20,
than
yeah.
2%.
Yeah.
They win an extra quarter.
That's all right. Keep your hate of Wemby.
What?
Because he's my guy.
The guys won 22 games last year.
Okay.
Can he
Okay.
snap the
I think
playoffs,
he
bro?
won.
Yeah, he's going to sniff the playoffs this year.
Okay.
I'm being cautious right now, and I'm going to say, you saw the tears, I'm going to say no. But when we make our preseason predictions, I might put him in. We'll see. I'll say this about
What are we
Chris Paul.
talking about?
What are you doing?
Because you expect the Spurs to be a
Yes,
playoff.
Yes,
No.
and I just
You
said,
said
right
sniff
now I'm being cautious.
and saying
they
no.
will be in the running, but I'm going to say no.
So you're saying no?
But no, this is not our official prediction.
Well,
This
no.
is just chatter
Yeah.
in the offseason. In the preseason, when it's time to make our pick, I might put
But
him in.
right now,
Right now, I
let's
said
just
no.
say, right. So right now,
No.
you don't think they're a playoff team.
You don't believe
the
in
West
Wemby?
is as deep as
Right, but
it
I thought
gets.
Wemby was gonna be the league
is
MVP next
Hakeem
year.
Olajuwon.
No, I never said MVP next year. He will be better than Olajuwon, with all due respect to Hakeem, who was phenomenal.
It was a failure if he's Hakeem Olajuwon. An utter disappointment.
From the promise he's shown, yes.
okay.
He could be the GOAT, and you know I'm right.
Well, I mean, sure.
Hakeem was as phenomenal as Hakeem was. He wasn't going to be the GOAT.
So here's the thing. The oldest player in the league, we all know who that is. It's LeBron. Second oldest player in the league, Chris Paul. And Chris Paul, it's not only the age, but the age plus the size. He's held off Father Time better than any small player, maybe other than Stockton. I was going to say ever. But like Isaiah didn't play that long. And his history is not. Steph is, Steph might rewrite it.
Right.
But Steph's also. Have you ever seen Steph and CP3 stand next to each other? Steph is considerably bigger.
6'3".
Yeah, Steph, he's a legit 6'3", and I've stood next to Chris Paul. I'm right over 6 foot even, and I'm taller than Chris Paul. So I know he's listed at 6'1". Chris Paul's right under 6 feet tall. And if we show it to you the last 3 years, since they made the finals, the next year led the league in assists. Like, oh, okay, sweet.
I was impressed. Yeah.
The following year, you saw some deterioration. And then this past year,
Didn't
looked
play
nothing
as much, obviously.
Right, but don't you think that's part of the plan? Like, listen, Chris Paul is historically one of the most underrated players ever, in my opinion.
Really?
I really do believe that. I think he is.
I wouldn't say
I think he has that's why he's underrated. I think there's an argument. He is an argument that he's the 5th greatest point guard ever.
Oh.
I love him as a player. I don't think he is a difference maker on the court at all anymore.
No,
at all. I think maybe from a leadership off the court perspective, but as far as like, oh, now Wemby's going to have someone that knows how to throw an entry pass, I don't think that's going to be a big factor. For the Spurs
look, I think his biggest impact could be on Stephon Castle. Like teaching him how to be a point guard.
I'm down for
He's
that.
6'6". He wants to play point. Teach him how to play point. Now, Chris has rubbed some teammates the wrong way. I don't want him controlling stuff too much. Let Wemby have his freedom and do him. All right, so I think this is a careful dance you have to do where you don't want Chris coming in and it's not as fun for Wemby anymore. So I think it's a good pickup. I hope Chris can help Stephon Castle become a true point guard. But I tend to agree with him. He'll be fine. He'll help him. But
if the announcement was Chris Paul's retiring and is joining the Spurs staff as a coach, everybody would be like, wow, that's amazing. So smart. He's going to make everybody better. So I'm viewing it through that lens. And he'll suit up sometimes and play.
Oh, well, that's interesting.
well, he may start.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think he's going to be their starting point guard.
For how many minutes is he going? 22?
I think he's going to play 24 minutes.
Okay, all right, sure.
Yeah, last year he played 26. I think he'll play 24.
Also, they never fit last year. It's strange. Klay would be wearing a Dallas jersey next time we see him. After nearly 1,000 games with the Warriors, this trio, Draymond, Steph, and Klay, conclude their run. 6 finals appearances, 4 titles, 720 games together, and 6 most wins by a trio all time. Geez, 718 winning percentage. Are you viewing this as the official end of the Warriors?
It's certainly the end of an era. I mean, because their championships, even with Kevin Durant there, because he was there obviously for just the 2, it's about Steph, Klay, and Draymond. Steph and Klay, best backcourt ever. Mark Jackson said it, best shooting backcourt ever early in their career, and they became the best backcourt ever. So in that regard, it's the end of an era. Look, I think the Warriors, they still are going to try to make some moves. Lowry Markkanen is out there from Utah. I love that.
I love that too. I would love it. I don't see how they can get it, but go ahead.
It's going to be different. You're right.
Yeah.
He's a perfect fit if they can get him.
Yes.
And even if they get him, I think, I think I don't know if I have a graphic on tiers later, but not for this one. But I think that they're.
Won't tease the top of the show. There's a graphic coming up.
I think that they're basically where they were last year. They're fighting to just get in the postseason. That includes the play-in, not just the real playoffs, but the play-in. 10th, 11th.
Yeah, there's a lot of. And by the way, I saw the Markkanen thing as well, but I also saw this weekend that they could have gotten Levine. And they said no to it because, to me,
just for Chris Paul or Wiggins.
You're right. And then a little salary filler. So that, to me, indicates that Joe Lacob was telling the truth. That their number one goal is to not get under the apron, but to get under the tax. And that this is over. Now, I don't view this as I view this as the end of the end. We know what the beginning of the end was. The beginning of the end was this moment right here, before they played a single game in their title defense. This, as history will tell it, was the beginning of the end of the Warriors. We just didn't know it yet, but it was. And nothing was right ever since then. That year, they, tried to deal with it, and then they go out kind of quietly in round 2 to LeBron and the Lakers. Then next year, we don't have to keep playing this. The next year, they deal with more Draymond-related nonsense, and now they're broken up. One of my biggest takeaways of this deal was, wait, what were the Warriors willing to offer Klay? Like, Josh or Dust, can someone remind me in my ear, what did Malik Monk get?
Well, I thought it was 2 years, $48 million.
But did Malik Monk, off the top of my head, I thought he got 4 for 78, but maybe I'm wrong on, it is 4 for 78. Yeah. Okay. So that is $19.5 million a year. 3 for 50 from Dallas, I understand state taxes, is $16.7 a year. The Warriors weren't willing to give Klay Thompson, Malik Monk money? Like, I understand, not giving him a max. But there was no, all right, man, you are the second or third most important player in the history of the franchise. Steph is still here. We paid Draymond, who's been out of his mind. And so that, to me, signaled this was not purely a we can't afford you. It was we are turning the page. We as a franchise are turning the page, and we can't turn it fully with Steph, Klay, and Draymond all here. So we're not going to match in a world where Hartenstein's worth 87. And listen, I understand younger player, different position. It's not apples to apples, but there seemingly was no loyalty bonus for Klay, which maybe is good business, but it signaled to me the Warriors were done, the Warriors were turning the page.
I'll ask you a question, Brew. So we just spent the last 5 minutes all right, Pelinka couldn't land the plane. LeBron made the call, couldn't land the plane. Are you surprised? I'll ask you a two-parter, Brew. Pick your question. Are you surprised that Steph didn't throw his body in front of this? And do you think that this will affect, this trio has been together so long, had their highest highs, do you think removing one part of the trio affects the other 2 guys negatively?
That's a great question. Questions.
Plural.
I'm not going to blame Steph for not jumping into and saying, hey, you got to keep Klay, because it's not like keeping Klay is going to make them a championship contender. All right? And I'm not saying Steph is fine with him leaving. I'm sure he would want him there. But Steph probably also wants to do whatever we can to get back to a championship level. And I think the best thing for him to do probably is to just stay out in front, stay away from it. Because it would just be emotional. It'd just be sentimental. If they re-sign Klay, would we be saying they're any better than they are today? I mean, he's better than nothing, which is what they have now. But I'm just saying. So the second part, Draymond, and I don't know what his relationship with Klay was, but when he kind of laughed it off on the podcast, remember when Klay stopped following him on social media and all that stuff, that shows that I think Draymond seems like he'll be fine.